Ferrari doesn't replace cars lightly, and that's exactly why this one matters.
The new Ferrari Amalfi steps into a space once dominated by the Roma, but it's already raising eyebrows with bolder design choices, sharper details, and promises of a more engaging drive. On the surface, it looks like a simple evolution, but dig a little deeper, and this might be one of Ferrari's most strategic moves in years. Is it just a refreshed Roma with a new name, or has Ferrari quietly fixed what enthusiasts criticized the first time around? By the end of this video, the answer may surprise you, and it could change how you see Ferrari's modern Grand Tourers. The Ferrari Amalfi enters the lineup at a very interesting moment for the brand. Ferrari has been carefully reshaping what its entry-level Grand Tourer means, especially for buyers who want everyday usability without giving up the emotion and prestige that come with the prancing horse. For years, the Roma filled that role, sleek, refined, and designed to appeal to a wider audience, including many first-time Ferrari owners. Now, the Amalfi steps in, and the big question is whether it's simply a new name or a meaningful step forward. This matters because the US remains one of Ferrari's most important markets, and buyers here expect more than just performance numbers. They want presence, comfort, modern technology, and a car that feels special every time it's driven, whether it's a weekend cruise or a long highway trip. The Amalfi is clearly aimed at that crowd, drivers who love the idea of a Ferrari but want something less extreme than a track-focused supercar. Visually, Ferrari is signaling change. The Amalfi takes familiar proportions but sharpens the details, suggesting a more confident personality. At the same time, Ferrari claims improvements in usability, refinement, and driver engagement, areas where the Roma received mixed reactions. On paper, it sounds like Ferrari listened. But promises only go so far. What really matters is how these changes come together in the real world. In the next section, we'll dive into the design, interior, and driving experience to see whether the Amalfi truly feels like a bolder, better Roma, or just a subtle refresh wearing a new badge. Now let's get into where the Ferrari Amalfi really starts to separate itself, and where the story becomes more than just a name change. From the outside, the Amalfi feels instantly more assertive than the Roma. The overall silhouette stays elegant and low-slung, but the details are sharper. The front end looks more purposeful, with cleaner surfacing and a stronger visual width that gives the car more presence on the road. It still has that understated Ferrari elegance, but there's more confidence baked into the design. This feels less like a safe Ferrari and more like one that wants to be noticed. Step inside, and the evolution continues. The cabin feels more focused and more intuitive than before. Ferrari has clearly paid attention to feedback, especially around usability. The driving position feels natural, with better sight lines and controls that fall more easily to hand. The materials are exactly what you'd expect: rich leathers, solid metal touches, and tight panel fit, but the layout feels cleaner and more modern. It's still a luxury Grand Tourer at heart, but there's a stronger sense that the driver is the priority. Technology plays a bigger role here too, but it's handled with restraint. The displays feel sharper and more responsive, and the interface is easier to live with day to day. Instead of overwhelming you, the tech fades into the background when you're driving, which is exactly what you want in a Ferrari. Safety and driver assistance systems are present, but they're tuned to support the experience rather than interrupt it, something that matters a lot for US buyers who expect both performance and peace of mind. When it comes to performance, the Amalfi delivers that unmistakable Ferrari character. Power delivery feels smooth yet urgent, with instant response when you press the throttle. This isn't a car that tries to scare you, it builds confidence. The chassis feels balanced, the steering is sharp without being nervous, and the car stays composed whether you're cruising on the highway or pushing harder on a twisty road. It's engaging without being exhausting, which is exactly what a modern Ferrari Grand Tourer should be. That said, it's not all perfection. Some purists may still want more drama, more sound, more aggression, more edge. The Amalfi leans heavily into refinement, and while that makes it easier to live with, it may leave hardcore enthusiasts wondering if it's just a bit too polished. Pricing is also expected to reflect its positioning, which means it won't feel entry-level to most wallets, even by Ferrari standards. And that's where the tension builds. On one hand, the Amalfi feels more complete, more confident, and more thoughtfully designed than the Roma. On the other, it raises an important question: has Ferrari found the perfect balance between usability and excitement, or has it played things a little too safe? Because in the next section, we'll break down the standout highlights and the real drawbacks that could make or break this car for different buyers. This is the moment where the Ferrari Amalfi has to prove itself. On paper, it promises refinement and confidence, but once you're actually behind the wheel, expectations change. The road opens up, the throttle goes down, and the car responds instantly. There's no hesitation, no awkward transition, just smooth, controlled power that builds faster than you expect. It doesn't shout for attention, but it absolutely demands respect. What really stands out is how planted the Amalfi feels when you start pushing it. The steering stays precise, the chassis remains composed, and the car never feels nervous, even as speeds climb. This is where it begins to outshine the Roma. The connection between driver and car feels more natural, more predictable, and more rewarding. You're not fighting the car, you're working with it. Then there's the balance. Through corners, the Amalfi feels stable and confident, encouraging you to carry speed without fear. It's quick, yes, but more importantly, it's usable. You don't need perfect conditions or racetrack level focus to enjoy it. In real-world driving, that matters more than raw numbers. This is a Ferrari you could genuinely drive every day and still feel excited every single time. But here's the twist. While the Amalfi delivers refinement and confidence in spades, it doesn't overwhelm you with drama. The experience is polished, almost too polished for some. If you're expecting something wild or unpredictable, you may find yourself wanting just a bit more edge. And that's the turning point. Ferrari has clearly chosen control over chaos, confidence over intimidation. So now the question becomes sharper than ever. Is the Amalfi exactly what a modern Ferrari Grand Tourer should be, or has it smoothed out too much of what made cars like the Roma feel emotional? Because the answer to that question is what ultimately decides whether this is Ferrari's smartest evolution yet, or a step that divides its most passionate fans. So where does the Ferrari Amalfi leave us after everything we've seen? The answer is clearer than it might have been at the start. This isn't a radical reinvention of Ferrari's Grand Tourer formula, but it is a meaningful refinement of it. Compared to the Roma, the Amalfi feels more confident, more cohesive, and more thoughtfully designed. It smooths out many of the rough edges without losing the sense of occasion that buyers expect from a Ferrari. The strengths stand out quickly. The design feels bolder and more mature, the interior is easier to live with, and the driving experience strikes a strong balance between excitement and comfort. It's engaging without being intimidating, fast without being exhausting, and refined without feeling boring. For many buyers, especially in the US market, that combination is exactly what they're looking for in a modern Ferrari. The drawbacks are more about philosophy than flaws. If you're a purist who wants maximum drama, sound, and raw emotion, the Amalfi may feel a bit too polished. It prioritizes control and usability over chaos and edge. Pricing will also place it firmly in premium territory, which means it needs to deliver on that promise every time you get behind the wheel. That's why the Amalfi makes the most sense for a specific type of buyer. It's ideal for drivers who want a Ferrari they can actually use on long drives, daily commutes, or weekend getaways, without sacrificing performance or prestige. It also works perfectly as a first Ferrari, offering approachability without losing identity. In today's US market, the Amalfi represents where Ferrari is heading, more refined, more accessible, but still unmistakably special. The real question now is simple: would you choose a bolder, better evolution like the Amalfi, or do you prefer a Ferrari that leans harder into raw emotion? Let me know in the comments, hit like if this review helped you out, subscribe for more honest car content, and I'll see you in the next one.